again, everybody. Welcome to Week 7 of the High School Football Preview Show here at the Altoona Mirror on YouTube TV. I am joined again by our regulars, Andy Stein on my left, and I've called him a guru in a long time, Mike Boydum, our high school football guru. And we are coming down the stretch run. A lot of important games coming up we're going to get to. First of all, we want to thank another school from outside Blair County sending us stuff. We got the Glendale Vikings. And this, have you seen them? You've seen them already. Have they got new jerseys, or is this what they're wearing now?
No, I
don't know if this was like a vintage. It's retro.
Yeah, I think it's a retro one.
Would you have played against this one?
That's a maybe.
And you remember played him over?
Under Armour was a big thing back when I was in high school.
When I covered the Mount Union Glendale game last week, none of the jerseys were that clean. Everybody was covered in mud.
And it's a large, which means I wouldn't have been able to wear this unless I was in third grade. So we think Mike's going to try this on for us, but maybe not right now.
Thank you, John Matchock.
Thank you, John Matchock, for getting this to us. I'm afraid to hang it up there that it might just put it across the table.
Yeah.
Like we're sacrificing it.
Yeah, I can figure out a place.
He's our set decorator besides being one of our sports writers.
And I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, so he's a guy, that's why.
That's right.
Anyway,
We'll talk more Glendale later.
We'll talk more Glendale. Our first game we're going to get to, Harrisburg 5-1 at Altoona 0-6. And I know why this game's on there. You can start off right off the bat here about that game last week that Altoona had against a 5-1 Bishop McDevitt team.
Yeah, and, not only did Altoona hang with them, they were in a position to tie or possibly, go for the win at the end of that game. And, from what I've heard, I wasn't there, but from what I've heard, the call could have went either way. There was some question over to what happened at the very end of the game with the
28-21 McDevitt. Altoona was driving,
and but regardless, the Altoona kids got a chance to play meaningful minutes. They got to feel what it's like with the game on the line and the end of the game, and they performed. They got down the field, and they put themselves in a chance to tie or win the game. And that's what we've been looking for out of Altoona. The offense finally started to click, and that was not against some pushover team.
Yeah, McDevitt's good. Now, you talked to the guy covering the game for us, Jared Prugler.
Yeah.
Did Jared tell you anything about the game, anything that you could check?
I think everyone felt that it was refreshing that they put up 21 points on the board, and I think that was their most by a lot this year, ever since the Hollidaysburg game.
It actually was. The 21 points they scored was more than they had scored the rest of the season combined.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it's refreshing, and, it's a big confidence builder, definitely, for Altoona. I'm hopeful they can get at least one win by the end of the season.
And what impresses me, and you can speak to this, I don't know if you've ever been on a team that's 0-5 going against a team that's 4-1, and the fact is that, those kids would be like, okay, time to get ready for wrestling or basketball or winter indoor sports, that they were still in this game the entire way through. I was like, good for Coach Nito, good for that staff, and good for those kids for not quitting, that they were actually out there.
It's not time to pack it in yet.
And playing this game against Harrisburg, Harrisburg has been good. They are very good. They are good every season, but they're making a long road trip up here. And, Harrisburg, if there is a knock on them, possibly they don't have the greatest focus and everything like that. So coming up here with a long road trip, maybe you jump ahead of them early, and this game could be close.
And they look at that and say, they're 0-6. Maybe they take their foot off the pedal. One team here, the good segue, our next game, Penn Cambria, 6-0 at Chestnut Ridge, 4-2. Chestnut Ridge is 4-2, but I got to think Penn Cambria is just like they're a runaway 18-wheeler right now. They seem like they're just beating up on everybody.
Well, when I did talk to Max Shoemaker, he said that when Chestnut Ridge has played its best football this year, they've been as good as anybody. He just doesn't think that they've been consistent. And there was the week 2, I believe, and week 4, he just felt they came out really flat. And he wanted to see that consistency. And in the past, Chestnut Ridge has gotten better as the year has gone on. And so this game is on the road for Penn Cambria. And it's going to be a challenge. I don't think that they'll just go in and win this game 42-0. I think that Chestnut Ridge is going to give them their best shot, and we'll keep monitoring Penn Cambria here because they have a lot of explosive players, and this is the year that they are expected to continue to get better, continue to become the team that everybody's aiming for, and this is the year that they want to win their first ever district championship.
And I gotta think Penn Cambria's coaching staff has to like, hey, I know we're 6-0, but I gotta think they're being even harder on them than they would if maybe they were like 3-3 right now.
And they probably should, because I think Penn Cambria probably realized that they got something special this year, and I see no reason to believe that they're gonna drop a game in the regular season. So yeah, they're wagging this year.
The question I have for you, Andy, is did you ever have a coach that just never had a voice throughout the season? Because Nick Felis, I have not heard him clearly the entire season.
Does he sound like a blues singer that you would see on his movies?
He claims that he gets his voice back around Tuesday and then loses again on Friday. Did you ever have any coaches like?
Well, I can remember Michael Keith was an assistant coach when I was in Mo Valley. He was later the head coach, but yeah, he was the guy that would always lose his voice at least once a year. Not every game, but at least once a year. Like he couldn't talk like at all at the end of the game.
Coach Felis, warm tea with honey in it. It's that simple. It's not that bad tasting. And you got to stay up watching films, so the tea, the caffeine, the honey, the sugar. Come on, you should know that by now. Hey, our next game, here we go. Glendale 4-2 at Claysburg 4-2. Glendale coming off, Mike saw him last week, tough loss on the road. Claysburg Kimball coming off, which, I mean, beating up on people. Which is nice for Claysburg because the three of us have been there enough to remember when people used to beat up on Claysburg. So what are you expecting from this game?
Well, I am very intrigued by this game, as Poppy would say.
Poppy Levitar.
You're not paying attention.
I think that, Glendale is an excellent run-stopping team. Now, last week they had a hiccup against Nasir Collins and Mount Union. And I think that Claysburg is a great running team, not just with Mark Lattieri, their running back, but their quarterback as well, coming out of the pocket. So it's such a great matchup to see whose side is going to win out on this. Glendale 100% could have won that not the Moshannon Valley game, the Mount Union game, but they had 2 snaps over their heads of the punter and the quarterback that cost them 14 points, basically. So, they just have to clean up those mistakes, and it should be interesting to see if they can do that. And meanwhile, Claysburg, they're going to have, assume a packed house here at this new complex they have, and they've won 4 in a row, first time since 2019. I think it's going to be an exciting atmosphere out there.
And Glendale, were they not 3-0 to start the season? Mm-hmm. If you're speaking to Glendale fans out there watching this everything, now they're 4-2, so that's 1-2 the last 3. I mean, it's just a hiccup?
I think they have to realize that they've played 3 pretty good teams right there. And the 2 losses, of course, and Mo Valley and to Mount Union last week. But I think they realize that they have a good team. Maybe they were getting a little bit too high early in the year. But and I know it's kind of our team for
he's kind of adopted Glendale. So now we might like Glendale because we gotta like Glendale. They give us a jersey.
Absolutely.
Claysburg could give us a jersey.
Yeah.
We would take it.
Go Vikings.
Andy 5X, me 4X. Yeah, I would wear a 5X.
If any team out there has a 5X jersey, they send it.
Send it in.
Yeah.
Send it in.
I'll wear it on camera.
There we go. He won't put it on camera.
No.
But we'll wear it on camera. The next game, and this is actually a game that I'm actually thinking of picking the road team because I've read some stuff about them this week, and I can't believe Jersey Shore 5-1 and Hollidaysburg 5-1. Hollidaysburg coming off the loss. I'll let Mike tell you guys about Jersey Shore. They're a District 4 team, but they used to be years ago. They're on the District 6, District 4 border, but they're good.
They're very good. Although it's interesting, I think there's going to be a lot of passing in this game because, both Hollidaysburg and Jersey Shore, when they're moving the ball the way they want to, I mean, I know Homer Delatre wants to have balance, but they've moved the ball better through the air than running the ball this year, and that's the same way with Jersey Shore. But Homer told me they're a very physical team, and they do have a loss this year, just like Hollidaysburg. They lost to Shamokin by 2 points, and just to give you an idea of how good Shamokin is in District 6 terms, Shamokin played Central Mountain, and they beat Central Mountain 76-0.
Yeah, Central Mountain's having a really tough year. They've fallen from what they were several years ago. Here's what I found out for you. The next 2 weeks, Hollidaysburg plays Jersey Shore and Williamsport. Jersey Shore played Williamsport Friday night.
Yeah.
Beat Williamsport, a 6A school, 59-14.
That's impressive.
Jersey Shore, and they're coached by Tom Gravish, a Baltimore area graduate, who used to coach in District 6, a couple of teams there at Bell. Yeah, I remember when he was down at East Juniata, and that's back before East Juniata got rid of their football team. They were like a single A team. But he's turned them into a juggernaut. They're in the state playoffs all the time coming out of District 4.
Yeah, and I'd say for Hollidaysburg, I mean, they had that one loss last week. Well, you definitely want it to happen right now before it happens to playoffs. But I think Homer will get his guys back on track this week.
And then our big game on Saturday, and I'd love to have seen if this game were at Bellwood, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to matter where BG will play in your backyard. They'll still probably beat you. Bellwood 5-1 at BG 6-0. And Bellwood's got a nice sized line. I mean, their line can compete size-wise with BG.
Yeah, and when Tyrone played against Bellwood, your brother said that the best line they were going to see or had seen so far that season was Bellwood. And Bellwood has, proven a lot of the doubters wrong. Got a big, nice, clean victory against Phillipsburg last week. And I thought the biggest key was that Holden Schreier was able to throw the ball really well. He threw 3 touchdown passes, 216 yards. You were just not getting that out of Bellwood's offense last year. And that has really helped open up a new dimension. People aren't stacking the box against them because last year it was just like, well, they're going to run McCartney. And this year it's more of a question mark on that. And the question for me is how does Bellwood stop BG's athletes? Because there's so many different athletes. There's Hamilton Gates, there's Torian Consiglio, there's Chase Kissel, there's Jacob Kissel. There's just so many different weapons. It's not like whenever they just played against Tyrone and it's like, oh, well, there's a couple key guys you got to look out for. It's a lot. There's a lot more space out you got to cover.
I'm curious, too, if you're Bellwood, you keep that offense off the field by they might have to just run the ball, like 12 play drives. Going back to their team,
Grind it out.
The Hollidaysburg game against Fort Hill. Fort Hill, I told you the one, they had 9.5-minute drive in the first quarter where they didn't even throw the ball. And I thought Bellwood might have to do that where they limit the touches that BG has.
I kind of agree. Just grind it out, give first downs when you can get them. But I will say, if Schreier's throwing the ball well, I mean, look, we always talk about Bellwood being, a dominant run team, throughout their history. But if they bring in a quarterback that's doing well, I mean, hey, that's amazing for Bellwood. That brings, like Mike said, it brings a whole other dimension to their offense.
And it's just like with Justin Fields with the Steelers, how he's been able to be mobile, and that has helped develop. So even though he's not throwing the ball 40 times a game, he's still effective. Schreier's been able to run the ball some, and that makes him more dangerous because when he rolls out, you don't know whether he's going to run or throw it.
And now our quick hit segment. A couple games here of note. Penns Valley having a rough season. They've been good for several years now here, but they're 0-6. They're at Central 4-2, and Central coming off a game where they were behind Huntington. And the newsroom was on notice last week when we were all monitoring scores. That game was on TV, and we were like, oh my goodness.
14-0 Huntington.
It was 13-0 Huntington. Then Central went, okay, we're not going to have anything to do with that.
And it's just interesting to see how Central's going to play this out because Central's 4-2 now. They've been winning the games they're supposed to win. And had a nice win against Tyrone early in the season there. The question is they're probably going to end up the number 2 seed in District 6 3A. And, they've been the multiple-time champion here. And, if they take care of business in that first round and Penn Cambria takes care of business, it's going to be for the third year in a row they're going to be playing, or at least 3 years. It might even be more than that. They're playing each other in district championship. And it's just interesting to see how they build this throughout the season, whether they keep getting better, and if they can get a couple more options, because Hohenstein's been a really good receiver for them, but we need to get a couple more options there for Moodler in the passing game.
And our other game is Northern Cambria 5-1 at Penns Manor 5-1, and 2 teams with identical records. And they're both single A, so they're also doing positioning. I get a thing for the because
that's one.
BG's the number one seed.
Yeah, but that's why we put this game on there, because you got BG at number 1, and then Glendale was number 2 last week, but since they lost, they dropped down some, and you got Northern Cambria and Penn Manor that are up there now. So these are the teams that BG or Glendale or Claysburg are going to have to beat in the playoffs. So it's just a game to keep your eye on. Northern Cambria only losses to Cambria Heights, and they're going to want to try to get revenge on that in the playoffs, like Cambria Heights did to them last year.
No, do we know the Penn Manor's losses to
Portage.
That's right. And Portage is like just real. No, you've been.
So that's another thing to keep your eye on, because Portage is near the bottom of the rankings, and you could see a rematch of that game in the first round of the playoff.
Do coaches play that up in practice, you think, or they want to win the game, but they're like, hey, we want to be the number 2, we want to host games, we want to buy, we don't want to have to go in the...
I would think there's still, it's still a little bit too early to think about playoffs. Just stack wins where you can get them, and
that's 7.
It's week 7. You still got 3 more games after this week, so I mean, I know these guys. I think are 2 and 3 in Class A though. So,
and then we're going to get to our specialty section now, the mirror show here. Andy's line of the week. I wonder who you talked to this week to promote on our show.
Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Well, you know what? I mean, I can only go so long. I don't think I did it all last year. I can only go so long without making Mo Valley line of the week. I mean, hey.
Why don't we have a jersey for Mo Valley?
Yeah.
Where is her? Don't you have your jersey left over from high school?
I think so. Yeah, I wore it.
Could we on Halloween? Oh. Could we come and just donate it to the show?
We can probably.
Mike would donate his golf stuff, I think, if we had a golf show. I shouldn't say that out loud. Somebody might make
I'll bring it in.
Why don't you bring the sign in from the stadium that says Lady Damsels?
Jackie England from the Progress would rip my head off. Anyways, yeah, so Mo Valley is my line of the week. They were 38-21 winners over Juniata Valley last week. How about this? 386 rushing yards. I do have a reason to make them a line of the week, other than I just went there. Their line is Don Moore, Tyler Lobb, J.C. Smith, Andy Honan, Justin Anderson. Their tight ends are Valent Cervenak. Cool name right there. He was cool. His dad was one of my favorites when I was at
Oakland last year, I think.
Yeah, just last year. Valent Cervenak and Troy Cantor are the tight ends. They run 2 tight ends most of the time. So, who do they have this? Well, they play Saturday night at Crowsville, I believe, this week. So.
Crowsville's not very good, though, right?
No, not really.
They could be 5-2.
Could be. Yeah.
Wow, 5-2.
They still got to play West Branch, I believe. So
6-2.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll just call it like we see it there. And now Mike's stat of the week. I'm anxious to see what Mike has come up with here for our stat of the week.
Well, the last couple of weeks, if you look at our rushing leaders in the Altoona Mirror coverage area,
Thursday morning paper,
the rushing leaders, the number 1 and 2 guys are from Claysburg, Kimmel. I've been here for 19 years. Scott's been here longer than I am.
21.
Do you ever remember 2 Claysburg guys leading the rushing?
I'm trying to remember last time Claysburg was 4-2 after week 6. I had to look on your thing there in the high school skinny. It's nice to see Claysburg doing well.
Yeah.
So just Mark Lavieri and Mason Campagna.
And he's a quarterback. Yeah. He's a quarterback, which shows you the versatility of that kid. But yeah, again, if we couldn't adopt Glendale, we would adopt Claysburg Kimmel. I love the underdogs.
I have a special place in my heart for Claysburg, too.
You must just really like yellow and...
I like the ICC.
Yeah.
Okay, and now our final segment here, our Scott's Cool Name segment.
I wanna know what's the name of the game.
And we are going to go with, it's a Cambria County, we should have came up with this the week of the Gold Bowl. Northern Cambria has, in fact, I ran this one by you last week.
Yeah.
They have a freshman running back. He's also a linebacker. His name is Kingston Swanson. Kingston Swanson. That could be a front runner of a very cool name. That could be, if we had a cool name pilot. I'm glad, I hope Mr. Matchock watched that before he brought it down. But Northern Cambria, running back, linebacker, Kingston Swanson, freshman. And then Cambria Heights. And I think because this is actually our, second kicker on the cool name segment. They have a kid named Nito, Nito, Cutress. He's a sophomore. He's a kicker. Cambria Heights kicker, Nito Cuttriff.
It's kind of a Nito name.
David, please don't name the show that.
Come on. I think you guys are doing this on purpose now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess you should cut
That's a good one.
that off, Cuttriff that off
oh.
at that point of the show. But that's going to do for week 7. Hopefully Mike doesn't suffocate and pass out because we don't know who we're going to. Let's bring Neil Riddell back on. But for Dan Eisberg, the man behind the camera, Andy Stein, Michael in hiding, I'm Scott Franco. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week on week 8 of the Altoona Mirror Football Show.